Hi guys, and welcome to Bomb Anime.
It's your girl Ruka.
And Big Boy Summer here, bringing you a Hot or Not Part 2 of VIVY FLUORITE iSong.
I like the way they made the emotionless AI human-like. You know, like Diva can't cry, so they had the rain going down her face and making it look like tears. And they can't bleed, but then when they get cut, they've got this artificial blood and they've made it drip the same way as blood to constantly remind us, yeah, they're AI, but they're as human as we can get them.
To be honest, you know what made them more human for me? You know when she was actually Diva and not Vivi, and she was doing stretches just before she went and do the rehearsal? That right there just screamed humanity to me.
Yeah, I have to agree with that as well. Also, the way that they played with the AI, they were doing a lot of human actions, but they constantly reminded us that they are still AI, but they didn't make them robotic. Now, I've watched loads of films, not necessarily anime, but loads of films where it plays with AI becoming human or whatever else, but there's still a robotic feel to them to make you realize, oh, this is AI. Vivi didn't do that at all, but they still got the message across, which I thought was really well done. Like, it's awesome. Which studio has freaking done it again? They really just don't play around when they're busting out these animes.
Yeah, I mean, like, Wit, I have to also, like, you know, give you your props. You smashed this one, to be fair. In terms of the animation, in terms of the storytelling, it was really good and engaging. I look at the themes that they made us go through. Purpose. It was so in your face, but not in your face at the same time. Every AI had their own purpose. That's my mission. That's my goal. That's Bayor. You know, like, it just went all the way through out the whole anime. Vivi's purpose was to sing and make everyone happy from her singing. And that somehow equated to saving the world. I thought that was beautiful. Convoluted, but beautiful.
I know it's literally about a song, but it's so much more than that at the same time. So I actually loved how they developed Vivi. It was actually crazy because it shouldn't have been possible to do it this way. Between episode 2 and episode 3, 15 years had passed. By the time we got to episode 13, 100 years had passed. And yet they still made her development seem seamless and normal, even when her whole personality had basically been wiped and she was Diva, the songstress. It still felt natural and completely believable that she would be acting this way. I don't even know how they managed to do it. It was really good.
I really like the interaction between her and Masamoto the Cube and Bear, not Doctor, obviously. I really like how it was a brother-sister type relationship, or, you know, a strange colleague sort of things, like guys you had to work with but you didn't really like, and then eventually it turned into like, and everything was pieced together and made sense and grew naturally. And they really gave you the time span, like literally from episode 1 to episode 11, as you said, 100 years had passed, and it was beautiful.
I actually loved the relationship between Vivi and Asomu, because we saw him at the very beginning giving the mission, and we'd said in episode 1, like, they didn't really tell us who he was. Obviously he made Masamoto, but we really didn't understand. And then we get to the end of the season and we realize that Vivi has actually watched him grow up from a lonely boy who had no one to become a little bit more of a confident child with friends, to this scientist with a family and people all around him who had actually ended up giving her the mission in the first place. And his reasoning for it as well was just so not like, it was just all circular. His whole reason was because of his family. His wife and his daughter had loved hearing her sing so much, and he had also respected her as a child. It was just so nice. I didn't actually see that coming. I wasn't even thinking about it, to be honest. I actually didn't care that they hadn't given him a name, so I wasn't really putting any attention to into it. But when I got the reveal in the end, I was like, okay, that's something I really should have picked up on. But I really loved the reveal.
I called it when I saw him as a man in his prime. I was kicking myself going, how did I not notice this before? So like, I know how you felt, because I was like, like I had that moment. And the fact that he was so smart to create the Singularity project in the first place, my props goes out to him, and he chose her. There was no one else in his mind that could have done this because of how much she helped him grow, and he knew that she would be the one to help the world.
Okay, now the reveal of the archive, I was just like, okay, the archive's an actual whole ass, because not only was the archive watching Vivi the whole time, the reason why nothing was getting better was because everything that Vivi tried to change, the archive went back and changed it back behind her back, so that whatever happened, those same laws came through anyway, or something worse came through anyway. And then the archive's like, well, it wouldn't have worked anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Well, then if it doesn't really matter, why didn't you leave it be and let Vivi change things? If it wasn't going to change regardless, you should have just sat back. Why are you undermining her the whole time? Like, the whole time?
It was kind of deep. No, there was no kind of about it. It was just deep. She spent 100 years. Listen.
Yeah.
She spent 100 years trying to prevent the one thing that she wakes up to see. She woke up. She was sleeping, dreaming, feeling good. And then she woke up into a nightmare. That was mad.
And also, I was thinking that, like, doesn't Vivi putting the virus in the archive prove the archive's point that humanity has become too dependent on the AI, and then they send in AI to fix the problem? Isn't that really just basically proving the archive's point?
Yes, it is. So what? That's why you were built. I build a chair because I need to sit. I build a phone so that I can call people. I build AI so I don't have to do nothing. That was the whole point. So what? I didn't build you to try and come and kill me afterwards. Do you get what I mean? Fam, nah fam. It's a bad machine and needed to be thrown out. That's what happens.
Let's be honest, they wouldn't have been able to do anything had the archive not basically said, okay, there's a way out of this. It was at the mercy of the archive. Whether it was a good outcome or a bad outcome, it was literally at the mercy of that archive. Just saying. But as a quick side note, didn't the space episode give you massive Titanic vibes?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it because, you know, Titanic is quite an iconic movie where everybody talks about it, blah, blah, blah. But this, I would put on par with the Titanic.
Look,
I think they kind of did it a bit better as well.
Yeah, that whole episode, for me, it had drama, it had mystery, it had sick fight scenes, it had a great plot, and it had some convoluted BS that made sense. Bruv, any review show for any film would give it 5 stars. Do you get what I mean? Just that episode alone. And speaking of the fights in this show are banging. They are actually sick fights. And you're not expecting fight. Like, it's like when Slice of Life meets Dragon Ball Z. It was actually really, really good. And I'm not gonna lie, guys. If you haven't seen it, watch this thing, fam. It is sick.
I mean, just the fact that it's produced by Witch Studio and the fact that this is the creation of Tappei, you know, we love that dude.
Yeah.
And also EG as well. You just had to know that this was going to be spectacular. I would say though that this was actually the saddest finale that I've watched in a while. My eyes were welling up and I was actually thinking, why do I even feel this emotional towards it? It was just done so well. The music was done good. The whole soundtrack throughout the entire anime, like the songs in the middle, the opening songs, like all of the music that they used going through was perfect. It was really perfect. Records of Ragnarok needs to come and learn. In Ragnarok, they had music and they were telling us it was beautiful, and that was the only way I knew that it was supposed to be beautiful, because they told me that's how I should feel. This anime just let me listen to it, and the music took you on a journey. When it was something sad, the music told you that you feel sorrow. When it was happy, the music told you you should feel good, and you just did. It took you on a journey. The music was as good as the actual animation. Like, it went together so well, and also the color was it was so good. But Witch Studio, like the Pixar of anime.
Yeah.
Just so great with the color. Oh, it was fantastic.
Look, this whole thing took me through some emotions. Look, Ruka, tell these people about me. Do I watch opening?
He's one of those weirdos that fast forwards openings. It really gets on my nerves. Don't fast forward my opening. No, don't do it.
Every single episode I watch the opening. Every single one.
Really?
Yeah, because half of them, the opening was her singing. Bruv, they did this, you know. They tricked me into watching openings, fam, and I was here for it. I really like the whole concept of immortality and purpose. Those two normally don't go together. I mean, we watch it on a lot of film, a lot of anime, a lot of other things where because you live for so long, you lose your purpose. And because Vivi basically did not fear death, she got writer's block. It's not the only reason why, but she got writer's block. She lost a part of herself. She needed to find herself. It took her 20 years to get the audio done before she actually did the singing part. Do you get what I mean? And I liked the fact that we actually saw the progression of her writing this song. And oh my God, was it not creepy when everyone was singing it?
It really was.
Oh my days.
Especially because of the way they sounded when they were singing it as well. They wanted it to be off-putting.
Scared me, bro. I was scared the first time I heard it. I was like, is that her song? Ew, what? Oh my God. Are we doing this?
And when she sang it, it was so far from the other AI singing it. They just thought about everything. When the AI was singing it was so eerie, it sounded off, and it reminded me of when they were talking about in the earlier episode Grace when she was singing.
Yeah.
And then they were like, is that really singing? And she was like, no, it's
feedback.
What did you call it?
It was feedback from the waves. Or what?
They called it something like sound memory or something like that. And that's how the AI sounded when they were singing her song. And then when she sang it, I mean, Vivi doesn't have like the best voice ever, but the anime made you feel like she did. Like she had the best voice I've ever heard.
Yeah, I have to admit, they sucked you in, man.
Yeah.
I was here for it.
So guys, I feel really, really sad. It's gonna have to be a not from me. It was a waste of
Shut up.
Okay, now the verdict is that this is absolutely hot. It was breathtaking. It was amazing. The story was great. The music was great. The animation was great. The pacing was great. I have literally no complaints about this anime.
Yeah, it's a hot for me. I don't need to say nothing else.
Now, we have no idea if this is going to get a second season because it didn't come from manga or anything like that, so we've got nothing to go off of. It's just an anime. Yeah, so we don't know if it will be coming back, but I really hope that they somehow find a way to give us a second season.
I disagree with you.
It feels like a standalone one-season anime. But I would be happy if we got a second season.
Nah, Ruka, you don't want to ruin it, man. It's good as it is. Like, this is the sort of anime I can rewatch. I wouldn't want a second season. Where do we go from here? Let's go back in time and do it all over again.
So guys, let us know what you think. Have you watched this season? If you haven't, just go ahead and watch it immediately. Drop what you're doing, drop your baby, drop your cousin, drop your mom, drop your dad, drop your auntie, drop your sister, drop your man.
Damn. Okay, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Peace.